British rocker Eric Clapton, the only three-time inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, emulated American rhythm and blues to become the most commercially successful guitar player in history. Now comes the Dominoes, authentic American R&B players, with their retrospective on the music of Eric Clapton. The Dominoes are fronted by Randell Young, whom the LA Times has described as a masterful blues player. Randell, why is Eric Clapton so popular?
Well, I would say that his appeal is based on four elements: the voice, the guitar tone, his approach to the guitar, how he uses it, how he plays, and the connection that he has to blues, rhythm and blues, roots Americana. He's got a very strong singing voice. He's got good range. He can go in a bluesy, raspy, Johnny Winter direction. He can go in a smooth, Paul McCartney direction, and in between. And he can mix it up in the same song. And he also has a very strong falsetto, which he uses very effectively in his compositions in kind of a Beatles-like way. And those elements allow him to sing a range of material well, and it enables the listener to sit there and listen to him for a couple of hours and not get bored hearing there's enough variety in his voice to give it a theatrical, interesting quality. The guitar tone, I would say, is just essential to understanding Eric Clapton. He uses a front pickup, very round, smooth, pleasant, pleasing tone. He gets his tone with the amplifier, strictly the tube amplifier in the guitar. He gets variations in tone by how hard he picks a string and the way that he picks a string, and it just makes a very interesting approach. He has enough sustain, enough overdrive on the note that he can play the guitar with the sort of with the sort of command and intensity that a sax player or a trumpet player would bring to a solo. But because the tone is nice and round, it doesn't have that harsh sort of abrasive quality that a lot of rock guitar players use. That's a huge part of Clapton, is just understanding that tone and how it works. The third element is that he uses the guitar to do things that only a guitar really does, like bend strings, slide up and down the neck on the strings, hammer-ons, pull-offs, guitar stuff, and he does it very effectively, and that, he's using the guitar as a guitar. In addition, his process with solos, it's a composition. There's melodies, beginning, middle, and end, tension and release. They're compositional elements to his playing, as opposed to just somebody that's going to shred and show you how fast they can play, show you how weird they can play, whatever sort of pyrotechnical approach. He just doesn't do that. He plays music as opposed to technique. Now, he's got great technique, but the technique is in service to the music and not vice versa, and that's a big part of Eric Clapton. And the fourth element is that both in terms of composition and in terms of the tunes that he chooses to cover, his music, both recorded and alive, have a sense of legitimacy, both the air of legitimacy and like actual substantive legitimacy, in that it's all grounded or connected with blues, rhythm and blues, roots Americana. And so what that does is it places his music in a continuum of the development of roots Americana, which is a more satisfying, substantive, legitimate place to be, as opposed to sort of disconnected, super eclectic, hybrid, rootless pop music. Which, anyway. So yeah, those are the four elements, and I would say that's why he's as successful as he is.
How difficult is it to get the Clapton tone?
It was not difficult for me to adjust to getting the Clapton tone. It's like very easy, because my approach has always been get the tone out of the guitar and the amplifier. I don't like a bunch of little boxes. To me, they're all noisy. They sound like semi-good, meaning they're an approximation of a tube amp sound, but they never quite get there. And on top of all that, anytime you're plugging things in, connections can come undone, there can get dust in them, you can have crackling and failures, and the less things that can go wrong, the more you can just relax and play the set and not have to worry about things going wrong. The whole thing that he does, with picking the strings hard, it's always made sense to me to do that, because you get different tones and different qualities, and you can make the guitar sing in a sense. You sacrifice quite a bit of speed for that, but that's probably a good thing, because that encourages you not to just run off. And the worst thing you can do as a guitar student, we'll say, is to equate velocity with quality. There's a great interview with Wynton Marsalis where he says velocity is not the ultimate technique. The ultimate technique is nuance. Well, for guitar, the ultimate nuance is how you're picking those strings, the different pressures you're using, and getting different tones out of the same fret, the same string, but it's just plucked a little different, so it sounds a little different. And so that's something that I've been doing for 30, 40 years anyway. So it was really easy to just kind of adapt that a little bit a little bit closer to how Clapton does it. With Libertalia, I use a little less distortion, but essentially it's very similar to Clapton's tone. So really, my whole adjustment to getting the Clapton tone was just add a little bit of overdrive, and boom, we're there.
What has been the most challenging part of mastering this material and playing in the style of Eric Clapton?
The difficult part, and I'm glad we're through with it, is Clapton likes to play really high up on the neck. The problem with that is that the frets up there are really close together and the strings are really hard to bend. So the frets being really close together, it's much easier to make a mistake. That really wasn't a problem. Kind of adjusted to that very quickly. The strings, being much harder to bend, was much more difficult to adjust to. There's a period there of about 3 or 4 weeks where, because I wasn't used to playing up there and I didn't know exactly how much pressure I would need to bend the strings or to do pull-offs or whatever I'm trying to do, that I'm just constantly bruising my fingers, the end, whatever you call this, between your finger and your thumb, the palm, and then you bruise your hand, and then what are you gonna do? You can't like not play for a week, so like you got bruises on bruises. You see these stupid movies where somebody's playing guitar and their fingers bleed. Okay, trust me, you can't do that. If you have a cut on your finger, you're gonna have to like put super glue on it or something, but you're not gonna be able to play with your fingers bleeding. That's Hollywood. Okay. But what you do play with is like very badly bruised hand where it like hurts all the time. It's just not, I guess it's just not as dramatic on film as, anyway. So yeah, for about 4 or 5 weeks, I had to work through that. Now I'm used to it. It's no problem. It's no problem. But I still, for whatever reason, have not incorporated going high up on the neck into my own style. So when I'm composing something for Libertalia or some other format, I'm like around the 12th fret, up 3, 4, 5 frets, down 3, 4, 5 frets, because to me the guitar just sounds sweetest in there. And yeah, I'll go down on the end of the neck, and where it sounds twangy, and I'll do some things down there, which Eric does. And for some of our material, but I just for whatever reason I haven't like incorporated the high up on the neck thing. But when you're doing Clapton, when I'm doing Clapton, you're gonna have to go up. It's like pretty much every solo is gonna have part of it where he's up there on the neck. So that was a big adjustment, and thank God we're through it.
What has been the most difficult part of launching the Dominoes?
Difficulty in starting any new project is usually personnel. People that you'd like to get are out on tour somewhere. You don't have the budget. People that you can get. If you don't have a record company or somebody, some kind of a financial backing for the project, people are worried, is it going to work? Am I going to invest all this time and energy? So we were very fortunate to very early get Ray Genovese on the drums. I've played with Ray before. He's a great drummer. He had a lot of success early in his career. He was discovered right out of high school by Wayne Henderson of the Jazz Crusaders. Wayne produced his album, toured the world. He's had a lot of success since then. He's gone out with a lot of stars. Great drummer. He saw the potential. He understood the vision of the Dominoes straight away. And it probably helps that Steve Gadd is one of his favorite drummers, and Steve Gadd tours with Eric Clapton. But I've sat there in Ray's living room where he sits there and puts up tape of Clapton with Steve Gadd and Nathan East and whoever the keyboard players are, and just analyzes what's going on. And then in his approach to our material, you know, so many drummers are just sitting there waiting for like when they throw their next fill, or worse yet, it's like a drum solo. Anyway, that's like completely opposite of Ray. Ray has like he has like a score in mind. It's like, here's the optimum kick drum pattern for the bass. Here's the optimum place where the fills go, and he's got a game plan. He's going to execute it with as much precision, passion, purpose, and panache as he can throw into it. And what he's doing for us, I would not know even where to suggest an incremental improvement. I mean, it's that close to perfection. So we're really lucky to have the foundation of the project be, you know, a perfect drum track.
What is your favorite Eric Clapton tune that you play in your show?
My favorite song that we play is probably like the most obscure song that we play. We play it. I doubt if many people have any idea. I mean, it's like, that's a Clapton song. Anyway, it's Breaking Point off of the Journeyman album. And it's like Clapton's most R&B funkiest track, and I love the lyrics to it. I love the backup vocals. It's also got all these crazy key changes in it. I mean, it's going from like verse to chorus. It goes from like C minor to E flat, but then it has this little middle interlude section, and then we've kind of actually made that in some respects more complicated, but the overall effect is it's easier to follow. And we kind of started with an ending, and anyway, so it goes from E flat to C minor to B minor to B flat to A minor to A flat minor to G minor to F sharp minor to F, and then it comes back to the C minor bit. But there's a melody. Rather, we're not just like jamming over these key changes. We're not improvising over them. We kind of improvise over the E flat section, and then when we go through all these key changes, we have a melody that plays over it, and the melody is very logical. It doesn't sound like you're, you know, modern jazz crazy. It doesn't sound crazy at all. It sounds very rational. But we are changing these keys, and you know, I like stuff like that.
So far, what has been your audience's favorite tune?
For the audience, I mean, obviously they want to hear Layla. I mean, they've seen it on our video. They see our 4-piece version of Layla, and they just want to see us play that. If they're most of them that come are already avid Clapton fans, and they've read an interview. I mean, because there's a lot of interviews with Clapton where he says it's almost impossible to play and sing it's almost impossible to sing Layla and play the guitar part. And so they want to see, like, okay, I want to see him do that. So, it took a while to like get, I don't know what part of the brain's doing what and what part is doing the other part, but it took a while to pull that together. It's fun to play. You definitely want to do it like later in the set where your voice is warmed up, because he's singing at the top of his range. Fortunately, I have exactly the same range as Eric. And when I say fortunately, we don't. When he's doing songs and you kind of want to hear a little strain, it's there because if Clapton has to strain to sing it, then I probably do too. When he goes into the falsetto, same thing. It's the natural transition to that is the same for me as Eric. So it does make it very convenient if you're trying to sing Clapton's catalog. But for Layla, whether Eric is singing it or I'm singing it, there's a lot of notes at near the top of the range that are sung with a certain intensity and raspiness, and it's pretty challenging. It's not something you want to go into rehearsal and sing over and over and over 2, 3, 4 times. You'll burn yourself out real quick. But yeah, when it comes later in the night, as soon as you get that riff, everybody gets excited, and it's fun to play. And the ending part where you have the piano coda and everything, then that's another interesting whole journey there. But yeah, I mean that's the audience are coming. They want to hear a lot of Clapton hits. I think they want to hear White Room, Badge, Sunshine of Your Love. They want to hear Lay Down Sally. They want to hear Cocaine. They want to hear Before You Accuse Me. They want to hear After Midnight. And they want to hear Layla. And, we're going to give it to them.
In your show, you present a lot of great Eric Clapton guitar licks. Can you show us some?
I thought these were just like for show and tell, just for props. No. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, we can do that. Let me see. All right. Get this jacket off.